This is Black History Moments on JSU TV, because Black history is American history.
Hello and welcome to Black History Moments here on JSU TV. I'm Meredith Hairston, Program Director for WJSU 88.5 FM and the Sipp FM. This year's Black History Month theme is a century of Black history commemorations. And all month long, we're speaking to various individuals on what that theme means to them. Welcome the Director for Community Engagement at Jackson State University, Mrs. Heather Denne. Hi, Heather, welcome.
Good morning, welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So I think it's safe to say that one of your many passion projects here at the university has been the historic Mount Olive Cemetery. Can you talk to us about that?
Absolutely. So about 20 years ago, I was walking the campus and walking past Mount Olive Cemetery and just was wondering how can we make it look better and who was buried there. And so through our research, we've been able to document that it began as a plantation graveyard. There are many formerly enslaved persons that are buried there, and we were able to publish 1,400 names of everyone that was buried in Mount Olive Cemetery. In addition to the research we've done, we've been able to invest over $1 million in the preservation of 250 headstones and 50 mausoleums. And we've just completed that work within the last couple of months. We're excited about how the cemetery looks now, and we're also excited about the first African American statues built in the state of Mississippi are at Mount Olive Cemetery, and that's of Jim Hill and Ida Revels Redmond.
Okay, and is he represented with us today?
Yes, this is a replica of the statue that our students out of the Science, Engineering, and Technology School did. Okay. They brought a drone over, they did a scan of the statues, and we were able to print 3D printing of the statues. The statue is hand-carved, handcrafted, made out of granite and marble, and it stands about 20 feet tall. Wow. And so they're beautiful in nature, and so we want to make sure that as we tell the history of Mississippi and we tell the story of Jim Hill, that we definitely mentioned this historic statue that is in the cemetery at his burial grounds.
So is it a site for folks to come out and view, like the markers, like the Blues Trail markers all throughout the state? Is this going to be represented in some sort of way to where people could actually visit the cemetery? I don't want to call it like sightseeing, but is it that type of scene?
Well, yes. In fact, we have had students come out and learn. And as you know, that there has been a lot of information around Confederate monuments. Do we take them down? Do we not take them down? And so our philosophy and our kind of thought process is, where are the African American statues? How do we preserve them? And so we want people to come out and see them. They're a grand sight to see. Yeah. They wouldn't have been built anywhere else except the burial grounds. And so that is part of the story. And so it was a huge investment of the time. They're probably worth about $250,000. And so that type of investment in the early 1900s really is a legacy to who he was, who Ida Revels Redmond is, and also a tie to the Masonic Temple, the Grand Lodge, because they were Masons and Eastern Stars. And so a lot of the funds were funneled from the Masonic Temple to ensure that these people are not forgotten. And so that we remember them. We don't have a historic marker at the site as of now. There is a marker there that tells the story of Mount Olive, but really in the grand scheme of things, we really do want people to come and learn. And this past October during Founders Day, we had a reenactment ceremony of 5 persons buried in Mount Olive, including Jim Hill. Okay. And we had over 125 people show up to hear the reenactments of Virginia Scott Ford and others that are buried in the cemetery. We had planned for 20 people, and so when 150 people showed up, we were so thrilled that people were wanting to learn about those persons that are buried in Mount Olive. Yeah. and know that it is a tourism site to see that people from across the world will want to enjoy.
Well, that's excellent work. Thank you so much, Heather. I know more recently the office is working on now the historic Lynch Street project, and everybody knows, or mostly everybody knows, about its affiliation with the university. Is there anything you can tell us about that infamous street that maybe we don't know?
Well, I learned about Lynch Street in Ann Moody's Coming of Age in Mississippi book, where she talks about her interactions out of the COFO building during Freedom Summer, and in particular, her interactions with the president at the time, Dr. Jacob L. Reddix. And so a lot of people learn about Lynch Street through that novel. That's a required reading for, many students in the state of Mississippi and the world. And so when I came here and saw Lynch Street, and not only saw that there was Freedom Summer organized on Lynch Street, but also Medgar Evers' field office was in the Masonic Temple. And then across the street, there was the Ebony Theater, which was a Black-owned movie theater. And then walking down the Gibbs Green Plaza and what happened in front of Alexander Hall, and tying it into Campbell College. We don't have Campbell College anymore, but that's an important story for Lynch Street. And then even Rose McCoy being a space for recreation, swimming, and all of those things prior to integration. All of that is the story of John R. Lynch Street, not just sad tragedies, but also like businesses thriving, economic development, education. All of those things tell the full story of the African American experience in Jackson, Mississippi, and it's one that we hold dear to our hearts because our address is 1400 J.R. Lynch Street.
Right. I want to close with knowing if people want more information, on what your office does and how they can view these things. Are there appointments or times, or just however you wish? What would you recommend they do?
Well, first I would go to our website. All of this information can be found on our website, the Lynch Street Corridor Plan, who's buried in Mount Olive Cemetery, our plans for the 900 block. If you want to tour the Lynch Street Corridor, please feel free to reach out to me. There's also a collaboration with the Margaret Walker Center and the COFO Center, as well as the Masonic Temple. And so those sites are typically seeing between 5,000 to 10,000 visitors a year. And so those are sites that you can reach out to individually. And we also are developing a partnership with the Medgar and Marilee Evers National Landmark as a second site for the story of Medgar Evers. And so I would reach out to our office to get more information, and definitely our partners with the Margaret Walker Center, the Masonic Lodge, and Medgar and Marilee Evers National Landmark are ways that you can see the historic John R. Lynch Street Corridor.
And what's your website?
www.jsum.edu/CUBD.
CUBD.
Yes.
Center for something.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Heather. From all of us at JSU TV, happy Black History Month.
This is Black History Moments on JSU TV, because Black history is American history.